On September 18, 1961, an explosion sealed the Whitecap Mine in eastern Kentucky, trapping 13 men. When rescue crews finally broke through the rock, they were prepared to find victims of a standard industrial collapse. Instead, they found 8 miners systematically butchered. The men hadn't been killed by the cave-in. Their remains showed signs of professional disarticulation. The 5 surviving miners were discovered deep within the shaft. They were alive because they were actively consuming the remains of their colleagues. Under interrogation, the survivors revealed they were members of the Slade clan. They had taken jobs in the mines specifically to use the shafts as a rear entrance to their ancestral territory, a vast natural cave system. Investigators realized the crime scene in the coal seam was merely a threshold. They were standing at the entrance to a massive, undocumented subterranean empire. The 1961 rescue mission provided the first physical evidence of a lineage that had operated in the Kentucky mountains since 1871. The collapse forced a century of isolated, subterranean history into the focus of modern law enforcement. Josiah Slade settled this territory in 1871, purchasing 1,200 acres of vertical land. The hollows were protected by 400-foot sandstone cliffs, creating a natural fortress that remained functionally invisible to the outside world for 90 years. Deep inside the caverns, police discovered fully equipped processing rooms. The family used the constant 54-degree temperature for refrigeration, natural springs for water, and hand-carved stone basins with iron hooks for the systematic butchering of victims. Authorities unearthed bone pits containing the remains of at least 168 individuals. The scale of the discovery triggered the largest manhunt in Kentucky history, involving federal agents and the National Guard. The manhunt quickly stalled. The Slade family retreated into unmapped cavern depths where search parties simply could not navigate, engaging in a lopsided guerrilla war within the darkness. This tactical mismatch was lethal. Between January and November of 1962, 17 law enforcement officers vanished into the cave system and were never recovered. The investigators eventually realized that superior numbers and firepower were irrelevant. Within the hollows, the terrain itself was the primary weapon, and the Slade clan held the only map. The investigation finally advanced in December 1962. Martha Slade Carms, a pregnant clan member, surrendered to authorities and agreed to defect. Her maps revealed an 8,000-acre network connecting processing chambers to 3 industrial mine shafts. Following these routes to the clan's inner sanctums, authorities recovered decades of hidden records, including Josiah II's ledgers and the final field notes of Dr. Eleanor Morgan, a missing anthropologist. Dr. Morgan's notes detailed a society built on anthropy. Since the 1920s, the clan had managed a selective breeding program to ensure future generations retained the specific physical traits and brutal hunting prowess necessary for their subterranean survival. The ledgers detailed how they leveraged industrial cover to source victims. In 1944, a detail of German prisoners of war was ambushed during a logging operation. Only one guard escaped, while the rest were taken to the processing chambers. The recovery of the family's internal records recontextualized the region's history of missing persons. Evidence from the ledgers linked over a century of disappearances to a single coordinated operation operating under the cover of a legitimate Appalachian family. During the 1963 federal trial, 43 clan members were convicted. In court, elders matter-of-factly provided recipes for human flesh, while younger members demonstrated the specific knots used to hang bodies for proper drainage. Although the Whitecap mine was sealed, the human network persisted. 9 convicted members escaped prison through engineered tunnels or by manipulating staff, and 7 were never recaptured. This data shows the gap between the documented records and forensic estimates. While Josiah II's ledger recorded 47 deaths, ground-penetrating radar and historical missing persons data suggest a total victim count between 800 and 2,000. Modern DNA analysis has identified Slade genetic markers at crime scenes from Georgia to Pennsylvania. The family has adapted to the digital age, using encrypted forums to share traditions and maintain a network of active cells across the Appalachian Range. Forensic evidence from a 2021 case in Harlan County confirms the bloodline remains active. A partially consumed victim found in the mountains was linked through DNA directly to the Slade lineage. The FBI task force continues to cross-reference descendant locations with missing persons reports. As of 2024, investigations in 13 states remain open, tracking a culture of consumption that has survived for over 150 years.